Welcome back. With the base of both our upper and lower shield body complete, we can begin focusing on adding more detail to our shield frame. Currently, our shield frame is very flat and appears to lack depth when viewing it from our front or side view. In order to alleviate this, we need to add more depth to both the front and side of our shield frame. First, select the side edge face loop of the shield frame. Deselect the polygons on the middle edge of the shield frame if you have them selected. Since we'll be removing these polygons, we don't need to worry about editing these faces at this time. Next, extrude the selected faces and adjust both the thickness and the offset. For the thickness, make sure the newly extruded faces come out slightly further than the original polygons we extruded from. And for the offset, our newly extruded faces should be thinner than the previous frame border edges. Once we've got the offset and thickness to a point we're happy with, delete the middle border edges, as well as the extra face at the top and bottom edge in the middle that was created from our recent extrude. Move the middle border vertexes, created from the extrude, to line up with the middle edges. Once your middle edges are all lined up correctly, add a horizontal edge loop along the top front vertical edges. Next, select the newly created edge loop, as well as the middle edge loop between the top and bottom of the loop. With your edges selected, move them slightly forward, in the Z-axis. After you've got your edge in place, select and delete the border edge loop next to your newly created edge loop. At this point, we should begin seeing depth from our shield frame, despite the angle. For our next step, select the upper middle vertical edge loop of the frame. Once you have your loop selected, extrude the faces and pull them out. Adjust the offset to make the newly created faces thinner. Next, delete the two end faces and move the vertexes to the middle edge. Additionally, delete the faces on the opposite end of the extrude as well, and match the vertexes together. With the faces removed, we're now free to adjust the typology and edge flow of our vertexes and edges. In past chapters, in order to combine polygon edges, we've simply used the Merge Edge tool. However, using the Weld Edge tool to merge our edges will give us more control over how our edges are being merged together. Select the Target Weld Edge tool in the Poly Modeling shelf, or in the Mesh tool the drop-down menu. Use the Weld Edge tool, or the Merge operation, to merge together the loose edges we created by deleting the faces. Now that we have all our edges joined together, make sure all the edges in the middle of our shield frame are properly aligned. At this point, as we draw closer and closer to completing our inner and outer shield frame, let's adjust the thickness of our shields and make it closer to the width of how we'd want our final asset to appear. Grab all the vertexes or faces on the front part of the shield and drag them back. Next, grab the back vertexes or faces, move the pivot point to snap to one of the back vertexes, then scale the vertexes or faces together a little more than halfway. Continue moving or scaling in your vertexes until the shield width is how you'd like it to appear in your final asset. Keep in mind, while you don't want the shield to be too thick, you also don't want it to be so thin it almost appears flat. After you've adjusted your shield to a shape you're happy with, select the inner panels of the shield frame and move the back half to where it is only slightly behind the back outer frame. Next, grab the back inside edge vertexes and move them all back slightly. The goal at this point is to create a distinction between the back and front of our shield. Additionally, since we'll be creating more detailed aspects on the front of our shield, its front will need far more depth than its back. Before we continue into the next lesson, let's first save a version of our scene, as well as delete the history we've accumulated on our geometry. Be sure to join us in the next lesson, where we'll put the finishing touches on our base shield frame and create an illusion of depth in our model. After that, we'll begin creating the large detailed design elements on the front of our shield.